Um, 34 in the first quarter, 34 in the second quarter, 27 in the third, 19 in the fourth, 12 in the overtime for the Suns. They just don't finish games well, and they start out really strong because they have the firepower to do it. They have guys that can make shots. They play defense well. They move as a team, and then they just start to trickle out. And I mean, I just don't know what they do. They just it reminds me of the Clippers last year because they had so much firepower on a new team with a new squad, and they thought that they just start out strong and then they could just win the game. But it's 4 quarters in the game, and sometimes like last night it ends up being overtime as well. So you got to be able to keep that intensity out through the whole game, and they just weren't able to last night. Clippers Thunder 120-106. It was 130-126 that other game, Nuggets over Suns. But let's go Clippers Thunder, 120-106. I really like Shea Alexander. He's really emerged. He's been increasing and then progressing. His whole career since he's been in the NBA, and even last year you saw his the way that he's advanced his game, and now it just shows even more because he's the solo guy. He's their leader now. No Chris Paul, but he's been doing his thing, but it wasn't enough last night against the Clippers, who have been doing their thing, and Kawhi Leonard has been very consistent in all these wins, which is why I put him up there on Friday. 31-8-2 from Kawhi, best record in the league, number one in the West. I mean, they're just so proficient in what they do. They attack well, they push well, they defend well. They can play slow, fast. They can do it all, and it's much improved from last year, where I would see them start strong and then give out. Now they start out with a 36-point first quarter. The Thunder come out with 35 in the second, but the Clippers are right there with them with 34, so they were able to match the run to keep the lead. 25-21 in the third, pretty similar, and then they finish it off 29-28 in the fourth. But when they're able to match those big runs by other teams, and even if you're not getting stops, at least be able to match that. That shows you have the grit and you have the want to win a game. And that's what they did. That's what they did on Friday. So that was a good game and a good win from the Clippers. 7-2 at home. And the last game from Friday, Kings Knicks. Like I said, both of these teams are hit and miss. The Knicks can get really hot. You saw against the Golden State Warriors this weekend, and they beat them handedly. Of course, they didn't have Draymond. He got ejected for a phantom call, but the Knicks can get hot when they're shooting well. They're a good defensive team, and they can upset a couple people. But same with the Kings because they play so fast. They're really good on the inside because they play so fast. Fast breaks. Harrison Barnes back to the basket. He got a little fadeaway now. 21, 8 and 7 from him on Friday. He's their leader. He's got to be consistently good. But then those young guys, Fox, Hield, is it Huntington or number 0? I forgot his name, but he's a really good rookie. I really do like him. I think I got him in one of my top rookies this year, and they were just able to put the pressure on the Knicks. And in the third quarter, to start to the second half, they won the quarter 27-18, and that was really the difference in the game. So let's move on to Saturday. Saturday, like I said, all good games this weekend. A lot to go over. 76ers Pistons 114-110. Joel Embiid, big game, 33-14 and 1. Not the greatest opponent. I'd say you probably need to win that game by a little bit more, but he's being consistent. He's being aggressive on the boards, and he's gonna need to just continue to play that type of basketball for them to continue to win. the Heat and the Nets. They finally got their first win as a trio for the Nets against a good Heat team. Yes, the Heat, however, they were down again. Still, they're not fully back yet. But Bam was there last night. He came to play. 41, 9 and 5. He wasn't gonna go out without a fight, but the Nets took care of business. And down the stretch, I saw all three guys get a shot to take that big shot, or take that big play and make that big play, and they actually did it this time. And I think we're gonna see more of that happen rather than all three of them go for a big shot, a big time play, and not have it work out. Especially all three in the same game. I just don't think that's gonna happen. They're just too good of players for all three of them to continue to miss the big shot or miss the big play. So I think that was a good win for them, just to get that win under their belt, and they can look back on the tapes and say, okay, well, this is a good way. This is how we play. This is how we played the first time to get our win, and let's see how we can improve. So I do think that they'll be perfectly fine. I'm still content with that pick up there for the finals. We got next game 120-110, Timberwolves over the Pelicans. I'm so lost with the Pelicans because they have so much power. They have so much firepower. They're young. They're in games with almost every team they play, but in the second half, they just don't. I don't know what's going on. They just one of those teams as well that just doesn't finish games well. 64 points in the first half, and then you got 46 in the second. It's not a big drop off, but it just shows you that your aggression went away. When really, I believe in the second half is when you need to put the burners on and you need to finish games out. And they just weren't able to. In the third quarter, they only have 14 points. That's just not going to get it done. Brandon Ingram 34-2, but the Timberwolves were able to steal one, and they definitely needed that. I don't know how many games they're going to be able to steal, but when you only score 14 points in the third quarter coming out, you don't put a lot of pressure on them. It's a little bit hard to continue that game correctly. Let's see, you had 20 turnovers as well, 20 to 11 turnovers for the Pelicans. You got to take care of the ball. They are a team that turn the ball over a lot. They need to fix that. Let's go Warriors Jazz. I wasn't really too confident about this game going into it because the Jazz, number one, have been on a roll. I think they might have like an 8-game win streak, 7 or 8, maybe 9-game win streak, and they're just playing super hot right now. They're probably the best 3-and-D team in the league right now, and what the Golden State Warriors didn't need to face a team that can defend very well, especially when we just came off a game where we should have won, and it's just it's frustrating enough for Steph to be chased, double teamed, triple teamed, and then when Kelly Oubre and other guys aren't hitting shots, it's frustrating, but it's even more frustrating when you're going against the number one defense in the league, in my opinion, who can defend very well. They're scrappy, they're long, they grab boards. I mean, it was just a mismatch last night, and the Golden State Warriors did their thing, but they just didn't have enough. Steph didn't have enough help. 24/7 for him, but he just didn't have enough to overpower the Jazz, who've been, like I said, they've been rolling late as of lately. 127-108, the Jazz won that game. Lakers Bulls 101-90. The king, so-called, was getting a little, being happy, jumping on tables, walking on tables, stuff like that. But it was a good game for the Lakers. First half was dominant. They dominated the boards. They were pushing the ball out. They just looked fluid, like a machine, and they kind of took the legs out from under the Bulls, and they weren't really able to get going until the second half. But after then, it was really just about taking the hit and survive in that game. AD had 37, 6 and 3, so one of his better games so far. He's played not AD level as of lately, but that was a good turnaround game for him. And then Zach LaVine 21, 10 and 4 when he's been scoring like 30 a game, so it was a little bit off for him. That was due to the Lakers and they're able to lock down on defense and play well in the first half to kind of come out to that big lead. The Lakers are backwards though because they're 9-0 at home and all 4 of their losses have been 9-0 away from home, and all 4 of their losses have been at home. So they're gonna need to find a way to win at home, especially playing as well as they are. They're gonna get the home playoffs, and you don't want that to be your Achilles heel moving forward. But they're playing good basketball, and they could be the best team in the league on any given night if they're locked in. So it was a good game for them. Rockets Mavs, that was a big win for the Rockets. We had a DeMarcus Cousins sighting, the old DeMarcus Cousins, dominant, shooting threes, dominating the inside, and 28, 17 and 5. He was big last night. They were able to control the boards and run and get it out quick and hit threes, and that was really the difference. The Mavericks just they were scoring, but they weren't able to stop the Rockets from doing their thing. They shot 43% from 3, and the Mavs shot 20%. So they still have that same kind of system in Houston to run and gun. Take a lot of threes, and now they have a big man though that can rebound and he can make his own shots. So the Rockets are